Good day, everyone. So today I'm gonna try do something with this 50-foot half-inch snake. Long story short, the blockage at my mom's house and my regular quarter-inch 25-footer just wouldn't quite do it. It kind of hit it, but you could tell that it didn't really clear it out that well. So I actually went and bought, and that one's done the job for many years, but need a longer one, and when it's longer, then definitely need one a little thicker. That's why I went with the half-inch. Try and put a quarter-inch 50 feet, and it's like trying to push a wet noodle up a hill. It just doesn't work that well. You're not getting the leverage on it. So bought this. Problem is with this, it's a 50-foot. So once I uncoil this, if you're to just use it, and when you hit a blockage and you're trying to spin it at all, you have a lot of feet behind you whipping around and in the way, and you're in a house, and you're doing this in a driveway with a lane behind you, obviously not an issue, but that's never the issue. The situation, you're always in a house somewhere, so in a tight corner normally. So where the clean out is, I want to keep it more contained. I saw a video online of a guy who put it in a bucket, and I like the idea of putting it inside a bucket to keep it contained. The problem is when you're feeding it out, it'll come out fine, it'll spiral out as it comes out the top, but if you want to turn it, it's still going to have that same problem of fighting in here and not going anywhere. So what I want to do is I'll show you what, but the end result is I want to have it so it can spin. So I'm going to build something so it can spin. Still not 100% sure yet how we're going to do this, but we're going to figure it out here. So that way when you're going, and you're actually pushing it, when you want to spin it, this will now freely spin with you, your whole snake. What I want to do is actually fix the other end, the dead end of it at the back. I'll explain here what I want to do with that, so that way it's not spinning freely inside as well. It's going to turn, if I turn this, or as I'm doing the snake independently, it's going to turn with it. So that way they're together. So that's the plan. So I'll do a quick little rundown on what I'm hoping to succeed with here. Obviously the snake's going to go inside. A couple of chunks of wood. What I'm going to do is a piece of wood on the inside, the fitting on the outside, obviously drill through, piece of pipe. So that's going to be on one side, and the lid fits pretty tight. And then I am thinking on the bottom, put a piece in there, screw that to the bottom. Don't need to cut a hole through it because the snake's not going to go through the bottom of it. Put that on. So when I'm done, really what I'll have is that, with the snake coming out this end. So now what I want to do then is build, so I'm ready for it to spin and it can come out. So now I'm going to just build something out of 2x4s with maybe just across the top and a handle, just something to support it, with a hole on this end and a hole on the other end, because this is going to stick out far enough that I can put like a 2x4 or something up. So you have a 2x4 on either side, and then it should spin. So that's going to be the project here, and we'll see how it goes, and we might have to change or tweak things as we go along. One thing I'm noticing is just even scrap pieces of wood are coming to a minimum. You do enough little small things around the house and it starts to come to a minimum, but we'll figure it out. There's got to be stuff we can build something with. This doesn't have to look pretty, it just has to work. So let's try and figure this one out. Okay, so what I got now is I cut a hole. I just used a hole saw. What I did was I used a size that outside diameter is going to be just a hair bigger than that pipe. So I want it to fit through, but I don't want much wiggle room. I just want it to be a little snug. So did that, threw it through here, did a quick measurement or just a quick X to get it's a scrap piece. It's not square, but just so it's sort of semi-weighted, but honestly not critical. It's going to spin no matter what. Didn't measure anything here, just threw it through the middle. Looks pretty good, it should work. So now I want to throw some screws in. Biggest thing is just making sure that that is lined up and that we're not out, because the 6-inch nipple is going to be on this side. So I could line it up wrong if, you know, I'm not saying if not careful, it's not that tough, but just something you want to make sure of. This now is where the snake's going to come through. This is going to get beaten up. I was thinking about, should I put something metal here or something to protect it, and I just kind of decided piss on it. Leave it the way it is. This is slowly over time. I'll smooth it a little bit to remove a bit of an edge, but I'm not too worried about it. That snake is just going to create a nice little funneling here in this wood. So, not condition critical. It's going to be what it's going to be. Either way, it shouldn't slow it up at all. So, let's line it up. Nice and purdy. Like that. Make sure this guy's on there lined up. We'll just throw in some screws. Oh, number 10, Robbie. We go to number 8. There we go. So now, just to make sure, put some pressure on. Walk on me. Okay. This one's looking good. Make sure we're lined up, and we'll go across from it. Nice and snug. 4 I think is even overkill, but you know what? Let's do her. Shouldn't just, I noticed the lid sort of warping a little bit, but it shouldn't be enough that it takes it out of to the point where it won't go on. Oh yeah, this is still flexible. Nice and lined up. Alright. Just debating on if I should put something on those threads, but obviously I'm not using this as a threaded purpose. Definitely not going to use thread tape. Any Loctite I have is like, you can't undo it with dynamite kind of Loctite. So I don't have a mid-grade Loctite. So that should be fine though. That 6-inch nipple is, I'm just thinking that, ooh. Aha. Okay, yeah. Had a brain fart for a second, thinking that, wait a minute, that would, and then no, just all good. Part of the process, right? If you can't have a couple of brain farts along the way, then what's the point of doing a project, right? So that's good for that end. 2x4 or something to support it there. So now we just gotta get something on that end. All right. I don't think that needs to be, that's pretty good. Hand tight's good enough. All right. So now the bottom, same thing. Just gotta line up the bottom here. Curve it a little bit. Let's go like that. How are we gonna do this? Not a big deal on the bottom. We just got to make sure we're center on this side. That's the only critical part. We want to make sure our axis is true. We don't want to be out. Where the wood is inside, if it's out a little bit, doesn't matter. We just got to make sure this is right, that we're not out. That's all. Fortunately, most buckets have little molding dots or crap from when they made it, so we got an eyeball to line it up, and that'll be good enough. So there we go. So I'll get this together, and then we'll start seeing what. Okay, so we got the top done. Got the bottom done now. Looks like it'd be part of some kind of game or something, eh? You could almost do something with that. Anyway, looks like I need to invent that for something else or some kind of, I don't know. Okay, so that's done. Not a fan of how this lid, because it just sort of pops, it's not super strong. I don't know how you could change that, but it's not, if you look at it, it doesn't naturally sit straight. After it's clicked in on the pail and it's in the proper hole, it should all just, like, it'll go to true, it just doesn't want to stay there naturally. And everything seems to be screwed We'll see how that one goes. I don't know. 2x4s. What I was thinking is I found this, an old stand I had for a satellite dish years ago. Many moons. A couple pieces of 2x4. This was actually on a different project. I had to just take it off of it, but that'll work. So it's the shortest, so I can cut them both at that length, assuming, well, and I'll straighten that, assuming that this will work. So let's see, what I'm thinking is put each one like that on either side. Make sure you guys can see that. Let's see here, tight corner, but so I'm going to do that. It'll be in further, so I'll be okay distance-wise. So now height-wise, if that's straight, we got that level, about, yeah, that'll clear us, because I want to put something across the top. I actually couldn't find any more 2x4s or even pieces of wood that I wanted to use, some really thin 1x4s, but that wouldn't work. I want something sturdy. So what I actually found was an ancient hockey stick that I was going to use for some kind of project that it didn't turn out for it, but it's wood. So I'll put that across the top just to support it, and that'll be my nice handle for picking it up after. Nothing special, just functional, and if you can't put a hockey stick in it somewhere, then what's the point, right? So I'll make these two pieces the same length. We'll take that so it's just, all we need is 3/4 of an inch clearance, an inch at most maybe, just to make sure that this doesn't hit down here. And yeah, drill a couple of holes on either side, attach it in, put a hockey stick across the top, and then so some simple cuts here, and then I will show you what we ended up with. Cool, we'll see how it all turns out. Okay, let's get some sides on. I finished putting some bird holes in it there for the axle to go. And yes, I did use a metal hole saw on wood. A little bit of a smell towards wrong tool for the job perhaps, but nothing we can't figure out. I'm an electrician. I got metal tools. I don't have woodworking tools. I don't have the perfect auger size, so I had that, so I made her work. Anyway, just to beat you up before it gets to the comments section. So now we got these. Let's start some screws here. Make sure I got it down the right way. Yep. Let's get these bad boys. See what this one does. Let's get it going. Just when it's sticking out a little bit, then we can do that. It's got to come up so we can put this one in. Okay. And then we'll square it up. Just to make sure that our holes align. Right there. Beauty. Beauty, eh? Okay. You can do the same to the other side. I measured it so that I should have 1 inch room below here. Well, that looks pretty good. I like it. We'll set something like that. We'll see how it spins. It shouldn't be too much resistance in the wood, but we'll see. Time will tell. Like I said, we're figuring this out as we go. So I'll put this on the other side, get the end on, and we'll do a dry fit before the snake goes in, and we'll see with no weight how it spins. Oh yeah, and I have to find a way, I have to come up with something yet to screw the end of the snake, the dead end, to that wood. I might just try throw a screw right through it and see what that does. It doesn't have to be fancy. Cool. See you in a second. Okay, so got it all together. Got the hockey stick on the top. I even sanded it a little bit so it's nice and smooth. Sturdy as all hell, so that's good. One issue I've noticed here is that it goes together. Look at that. So we got a gap. It's not. I was thinking, I wasn't even sure about this ahead of time. I figured we'd have to put the pail lid on, fish it through, put the pail lid on while it was in here, because I was expecting this to be tight enough that you couldn't take it out, but you can take it out. So different set of problems. One good thing is you can put the snake and the pail lid on off of it, off the rig, but now once we put it in, we have to find a way to keep that when you're using it, this end here doesn't just come out on you. So now I got to think of, and it doesn't free flow very well at all. Almost binds. I think it's this top piece, how it's at that bit of an angle. It didn't really, it's like it's fighting it, it's binding. So I don't know what that's all about. Maybe I got to try a piece of wood that's actually a piece of plywood. Cut it so it's the full size. Put a couple of screws to get everything just true. Maybe that would keep it right. The back looks okay. It's this, I think it's this one. It does physically work though, so if you were going, it will spin, but it doesn't free flow. I think you'd have to just make the hole bigger in order to do that, which might be the easiest way. Obviously you could go full on and put bearings in, but we're not going to get that crazy. I think maybe just making these holes bigger would be enough. Just ream them out with a file here. I think I'll do that, and then that'll just make it a bit looser. And I can see that I might have to put in a piece of wood full backing to fix that. Other than that, I'm happy with that. Your snake's in there and off you go. Nice little, well, it's not the littlest, but it's contained and useful. You don't have to put the snake into something else. So yeah, okay. So let's put the snake in next and see what happens. So here's it caught on the back. See, like that. I'll ream this out a bit too. I picked something to make it just fit, thinking that would be nice. I didn't want wiggle, but I'm thinking wiggle's going to be needed. So we'll get some wiggle in her. Okay, I just want to make one quick note here. I'm putting it all together. I realized that with this together and the wood at the bottom, there was no way I was going to be able to get in there and really screw something easily. I didn't have anything myself. All I had was some cable supports to bang in there, and that actually worked really well. It is on there. So now, once that gets screwed back on, and it'll start the bend, there's lots of bend in it, I'll be okay. So I had to take it all apart. I figured it was easier that way. Do this on the ground, make sure it's firm, and then we'll put it back together. One thing is, before you do that, make sure you snake through whatever you're going to have on the other end. So snake through the other end, your lid, and obviously this one comes with the handle, so you can bite onto it and twist. If you ever want to use that, if you don't put it on now, you're going to have to do all this again in order to use it. So I figured, you know what? Let's put it on. A lot of times even to spin it, if you're not using this, even just to, because maybe the bucket will be good enough, even just to get a good bite on it when you're jamming in there sometimes is handy. But the fact that I kind of have to decide now, I'm putting it on and we'll see what happens. So now I'll put it back together and we should be okay. But I just wanted to point that out, because if you go through all this and put it together, then forgot to do this, you'll be cursing yourself. I didn't forget, fortunately, but yeah, there you go. So now we'll put her together. Okay, she's all done. Gotta say, overall, I like it. When you are putting this in, I just mentioned in the other little snippet that be careful to make sure that you put it, when you're feeding it through, to make sure and put it through your end pieces. Well, I forgot to put it through the upshoot here, the hole here in the frame. So I had to take it all apart after that and do it all again. So I'm getting good at it. It works awesome. I fed it all in, 50 feet, no problem, self-coiled, which I assumed it would, but good to know that it does. Pulls out easy, pushes in easy, no problem. The nice thing is when you spin this, so it stays with it. Hope you can see that. I can't see where the camera is. There we go, yeah. So you can see that it's spinning. So as you're going, if you want to spin, you could have someone else, if you wanted, doing this while you're spinning and trying to get to bite into a blockage. The one thing that I can see that will be an issue, and probably very quick, I don't know if you can see, it is not the weight of this. Look at that. So the design works great, but that's an issue. So I'm thinking, by looking at it, walls are obviously strong enough. Side walls are strong for top and bottom. What I'm going to end up doing is, I'll try it once, but I'll end up doing is cutting a piece of plywood on the inside, I think, and screwing it to that, and then screwing the plywood to the lid. So the lid is just like rock stiff. So that way you're not going to get this formation from weight. You shouldn't, I don't think, if this whole thing is now solid. Same as the back. The back was solid before until we put weight on it. So I'm going to do that. The other thing I noticed is, okay, because it's short, it is a pain in the butt. No point in trying to make it so you can take it out, because all this would have to come through your support anyway. So you can't. You'd have to feed it all out. So there's no convenience to having this actually coming out, like I thought there might be. So I was thinking either put a cap on the end. Oh, can you see where I'm pointing? There we go. So I was thinking either put a cap on the end, an end cap, that'll stop it from going that way, and then to stop it from going this way too far, some kind of bracket or something to bite onto it to deadhead it right here so it doesn't go that way. And then I thought, or this is a 6-inch nipple, it's about 2 inches too short, so, or just take this out and put it in an 8-inch nipple. The only sort of issue I'm seeing with that is when it is back this way, oh, it'll still go, yeah, no, that won't work, because then you'll still be on this side. So no, I take that back. Because it's on both sides, because they're both 6-inch nipples. I'm an electrician, not a pipe fitter. When does a nipple become just a piece of pipe that was cut? How far is a nipple? Because in electrical we use it all the time. Chase nipples, 2-inch, 3-inch nipple, 4-inch nipple, but is it a foot? 15 inches? One of you pipe fitters out there, tell me, when does a nipple become a piece of pipe? But anyway, so yeah, so overall, I'm really happy with it. Sturdy, strong. The hockey stick is a nice touch. If you don't include a hockey stick, they kick you out of Canada, so you got to do that. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Definitely room for improvements. Show me your designs. What did you come up with? The concept is killer. It works great. Just got to fine tune some stuff, but it works good. So let me know what you came up with, and we'll see you on the next one. Hope you enjoyed it.